So let's all welcome and be active on our chat box. So Joy, how are you, Joy?
Hi. Yeah, ready?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay,
Welcome, Joy.
it's lovely. Thank you so much. Well, I forgot to ask you, Jeff, whether I don't know if you know most of the people in the group, whether they're doing the academic IELTS or the general IELTS, or is it a mix?
It's a mix actually, but majority is academic because most of the members are Filipino nurses who's gonna use this as for US visa screen. So majority
Got
will
it.
use
Got
for
it.
academic. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much for having me on. I know that this is primarily a speaking group, and when Jeff and I first spoke, I said, I'd love to help with speaking, but at the moment I'm building a business around writing, so that's really my main focus. And he said, that's great, we'll come on and do some writing anyway, so I hope this is useful for people. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to share my screen. So Jeff, did you make me a host? Let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah, that's great. So I started, I've been teaching IELTS for about 10 years now, and I started in a language school. I then opened and ran my own school, and since COVID, I have closed down my physical building school, and I've started an online academy. And I found that I can reach a lot more people because the people that I was teaching in my school, they were, but now I'm able to reach people all over the world. So today, I'm host, so does that mean I can admit people? We're going to look at the task 2. We're going to look at a task 2 essay. When I thought that I'd do a writing presentation, I wasn't sure what to do. I thought maybe we could look at all the structures, but I'm just gonna, how do I mute everyone, Jeff? There's a little bit of, I thought today we would look at the most common essay question. I analysed all the books, and the most common essay question is a discuss views and give your own opinion, especially in the academic IELTS. This is discuss both views and give your own opinion. So it's really important to become familiar and developing your ideas and structuring your response. As any questions, please raise your hand and I can unmute you, or you can put your question in the chat box. I'm more than happy to answer anyone as we go. Oh, I've stopped sharing chat. Let me just see. Oh, the chat, there's a message, but I can't find it. Okay, so this is the most common question. So the second or the next two most common types are, to what extent do you agree or disagree? And then the third is, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Now, this question is very different to a classic or a basic discuss the advantages and disadvantages. If you just have a question that says discuss the advantages and disadvantages, then you're not required to give your opinion, and in fact you shouldn't give your opinion. You do have to give your opinion, and so you can still talk about both sides, but you must use language that shows which side you agree with. A solution, or sometimes it could be a problem and solution, or sometimes it could even be a cause, problem and solution. So whatever the question asks you to do, you should just answer the question. If it just asks you for a solution, you should only write about a solution, or thinking of two. People are coming into this group like crazy. Let me just admit these people.
Apologize for that, Joyce. If you want, you can make me a co-host, so at least I'm the one who will admit them.
Yeah, let's do that. How can I do that?
Just
Let
only
me
click my
see.
name or the
Um,
camera, yes,
yeah,
and then make me a co-host.
make host. That's great. Great,
Okay,
great,
yep.
great. Wonderful. Okay, so you can be in charge of that, Jeff.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we've got the questions, and then the final one is a two-part question. The two-part question is we have a statement or a premise. So every IELTS question has something called a premise, and this is just a sentence. So it has your sentence, and then it has questions connected to the sentence, such as what is your opinion, or discuss both views. In a two-part question, you have two questions connected to the premise, but they're like unrelated questions. It's not like cause and solution or advantages, disadvantages. They're completely random. They're not connected to each other. So today we're going to look at the discuss both views and give your own opinion. And for this essay, we're always going to agree with one side and disagree with the other, unless you are already a band 7. It's much more simple. It's much simpler to do this, and it's the examiner doesn't really care about our opinion. They only care that it's relevant to the question, but they do not mark you on intelligent, elaborate ideas. They only mark you on your ability to express your idea in English. So the best strategy is simple idea and sophisticated or good language explaining your idea. So even if you don't agree with one side, but you think, yeah, for sure, that side is easier to write about, always write about the side that's easier. It's going to cause you less chances to get confused or to slip up with your language. So we're going to agree with one side and disagree with the other. And yes, always write about the easiest option to agree with. So this is our question today. In the academic IELTS, you're more likely to get questions connected with science and environment. And this is a classic kind of environment question. Some people say that the main environmental problem of our time is the loss of particular species of plants and animals. Others say that there are more important environmental problems. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. So the first thing we should do before we start writing, we always need to make sure that, first of all, we understand the question. And second of all, we have to think, what is my opinion? Which side do I agree with? You must think of that before you start writing. Now, often in the question, there are small words that are the most important words. For example, in this question, we've got environmental problems. So our main topic is environment, but our specific topic keywords are loss of particular species and animals, and then other environmental problems. But then even more specific are these two words, the main environmental problem, or are other problems more important? For example, if you only talk about, yes, giving examples of the loss of particular species of plants and animals, but if you don't say whether it's the most important, you're going to lose marks in your task response. 1 second. So I'm just going to put my sound on mute. Okay. If anyone has any questions, just raise your hand. So the other micro keyword here is more important. So the critical thing we have to think about, we have to respond to in this essay, is the loss of particular species of plants and animals the main problem? And if it's not, are other environmental problems more important? So we're going to have to use comparative and superlative language. More important, less important, main, the major, the most important. This is the real foundation of this essay. So we have the general topic, which is environment. We have the specific topic, the loss of particular species of plants and animals, and if it's more important. And then we've got the instructions, discuss both these views and give your own opinion. So you must discuss both the views and you must give your own opinion.
Correct, ma'am.
In order to achieve a band 7, you must make your opinion known in the introduction. If you look at the band 7 marking criteria, it says position is clear throughout the essay. So you must make it known at the beginning of the essay, throughout the essay, and in your conclusion. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plan. And we've got to think of the main environmental problem. Is it loss of particular species of animals and plants? Can you think of any synonyms? What other words do we have for animals and plants? Well, wildlife is one. And then if we're talking about the loss, then we've got words like extinct, become extinct, or we've got words like endangered. And these are really, really fantastic environmental synonyms. If you're speaking, Jeff, I'm just going to put my sound back on. Jeff.
How many words?
Hello, guys. Sorry, Joy. If you have question, please raise your hand. Just not only unmute your mic, okay?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I put my sound on mute. Yeah,
No
sorry,
problem.
Please speak.
Yeah.
Who was asking a question? You're very welcome to speak.
Ma'am, how many words we have to write in it?
Right, you have to write 250 words. And the structure that is most recommended that I teach is 4 paragraphs. 4. Your introduction, we're just about to do the introduction together. And then you've got 2 body paragraphs. So the 2 middle paragraphs, they're called your body paragraphs. That's when you explain your ideas and then your conclusion. So in total, 250 words. The introduction should be around 40 or 50. You're going to write about 2 or 3 sentences in your introduction. The middle 2 paragraphs, the body paragraphs, should be about 90 words. But, I mean, there's no exact formula. The examiners don't count the words in your introduction and your body paragraph. And actually, in 2018, the rules changed. You can still achieve a good score if you write a little bit under 250. If you write 240, you can still get a band 7 if you answer the questions well. But it's really recommended to write about 270 words. It's also really recommended to spend about 3 to 4 minutes planning your essay, thinking of your ideas first before you write anything. This will for sure guarantee you a better score. You'll be more strategic in your approach. JB, was that you that just asked the question, or JB just raised his hand? Let me take him off mute. JB. No. Okay. So now it doesn't matter in this essay which side you agree with. It absolutely doesn't matter. But just commit to agreeing with one side. Now, you might be following other writing instructors on YouTube, and it's true that lots of different teachers teach different methods, and some IELTS teachers teach the strategy of brainstorming. Think of as many ideas as you can, and I absolutely I don't recommend brainstorming. I think it causes confusion. I think it wastes time, and I think it causes overwhelm. So I think you need to think of the most obvious answer to you. Try to think of an answer, and as soon as you think of an idea, think of, can you explain it? Can you introduce your idea? Can you explain it with one sentence, and can you give an example? And if you can, it's a good idea. And if you can't explain your idea clearly, then think of another idea. But I don't recommend brainstorming. So I'm going to show you what my planning was for this. So in my mind, I did two slides. So the loss of plant and animal species, well, my idea to explain this was, why is it important? Well, because it's irreversible. If something is lost forever, you can't get it back. And each species depends on every other species in the ecosystem. So I thought, well, that's one example of the loss of plant and animal species. But the next thing is it the main problem? And then I thought, well, what other environmental issues are there? You have to think of some examples. What other environmental? And I thought natural disasters. Natural disasters such as earthquakes and tsunamis, droughts and floods. They're very common these days. They're very serious and they cause loss of life. So I've got an example of other environmental issues, and I've got an example of loss of plants and animal species, and I now have to decide which one is the most important problem. Which one do I agree with? So I tell you what, I don't know if this can be an interactive lesson. In the chat box, tell me which one you think is the most important environmental problem. They're both important, but which one do you think is the most important? Oh, 14 chats, let's see. Okay, I'm not the host. Okay, I'm just going to wait. Before I continue, I'm going to wait. What do you think is the most serious or the most important environmental problem? Global climate change. Okay, great. So other environmental issues. Human loss. Mariam, great. Tulasa. That's great. Pollution. So you're all saying other environmental issues are the most important. Deforestation. Wonderful. Okay. So now that you've got your idea, you would need to be thinking of a reason to support it. Why, for example, why is deforestation terrible? Or why are floods terrible? Now, interestingly, I agreed with the other side. You have all told me that you agree with other environmental problems being the most important. Actually, I don't know why, but I wrote an essay for this question and I agreed that the loss of plants and animal species was more important. And these were my reasons. It doesn't mean that I don't think this side is important. I do, and I explain that in the essay, but I think this is more important. So we're now going to look at the introduction. When we write an introduction for a some people, other people essay, there are a few phrases that I teach that are very, very effective. And you don't need to memorize 5 phrases for every introduction. The IELTS essay is a short essay. And so one of my students in my academy said, he was exactly right. He said, yeah, Joy, I don't memorize all the different phrases. I just master one. I find one method to answer each question and I master it. So for some people, other people, we need to paraphrase. Paraphrase means we need to rewrite this introduction in our own words. And here are some great... Hello? So here are some great phrases for paraphrasing some people, other people introductions. So it is argued or it is felt by some that, and then while others maintain. We've got opinions differ regarding whether. So opinions differ regarding whether the loss of plant and animal species is the most important environmental issue. Or you've got this strategy, X, which is the topic, is thought by some to be. Or you can say this, it is thought by some that. So you can use one of these phrases to paraphrase, to write this in different words, in your own words. Oh, I didn't do the animation. Okay, so this is the question. I have chosen to paraphrase using X is thought by some to be. And I'm going to show you what my paraphrased introduction is. I'm going to use this passive infinitive, which is just X is thought by some. So, endangered wildlife is thought by some to be. So, I've taken this loss of particular species of plants and animals, and I changed the words to endangered wildlife. And this passive structure means that some people think, but we just structure it differently, is thought by some to be. And then I've said the most devastating environmental issue. So I've used this word devastating instead of main problem. It's really serious. So it's a really great word for serious or critical. And then I've said whereas, and whereas is a great word that connects two sentences to make a complex sentence, whereas others argue that different environmental concerns take precedence. So this is the number one thing, I'm just going to put this here, this is the number one step in your introduction, and then this is the number two step. Okay. So number one step is you paraphrase or you rewrite, and then your number two step is your thesis. What are you going to do in this essay? This essay will discuss the harm caused by each problem, and then here's your opinion. This is really important, and why I believe that the loss of biodiversity is a more critical matter. But if this were you told me in the chat box, that you thought pollution, or who said deforestation. So you would say, and why I believe that pollution is the most important environmental matter. So whatever your opinion is, write it here. This essay will discuss the harm caused by each, or this essay will discuss both perspectives, but definitely not, this essay will discuss both views and give my opinion. It's very, very basic. You're not telling the examiner anything new. You're not giving your opinion. So this is our introduction, okay? We paraphrase and we write a thesis statement. We write, what will your essay do? This is going to be the same for every essay, although the language will be a bit different. You paraphrase, you write a thesis. What will the essay do? Okay, so this is our introduction that we just wrote, and then we are going to write the middle paragraphs. So the first paragraph, we're going to talk about the opposite view, and the reason is because when you hear something for the last time, so the last thing you hear in a conversation or a debate is always the thing you remember. So you want the examiner to remember your opinion. So you write the opposite opinion first, and then you write your opinion, which is the loss of biodiversity. Biodiversity just means variety. So diversity means variety, and biology, plants and animals. So this is your structure. So the first body paragraph, you talk about the opposite view, and you introduce your body paragraph with something called your topic sentence. And your topic sentence is really important. It's not a complicated sentence, but it's really important that you tell the reader what you're going to write about. So you need to be clear in your topic sentence. So because it's the opposite view, you want to use language that tells the reader this isn't your view, other people think that. So for this example, I have said arguably. Arguably means, yeah, okay, some people think this. Arguably. The rise in natural disasters over recent years has arguably had catastrophic consequences. That's one possibility of a topic sentence. The second possibility is the rise in natural disasters over recent years could be argued the most catastrophic ecological concern. So all this language could be argued to be means that you don't think this, the other people think it. Or you could just say, there are people who believe that, the rise in natural disasters. These are three possibilities to start your paragraph with the opposite view. Then, so this is a recommended structure for your body paragraphs. Then you're going to explain. What do you mean, the rise in natural disasters? So we're going to explain by using a sentence like, this is because, or using a complex sentence like, when this happens, this happens. We're then going to give an example, and then we're going to write a little paragraph summary, such as a result, this is a very serious matter, or as a result, human life is being lost. So you've got about 4 or 5 sentences in your body paragraphs, and your whole body paragraph 1 in this essay should be talking about the other side, why some people think this thing. We then go to body paragraph 2, where you say, however, I agree with those who believe that the irreversible damage of the loss of species and plants and animals is really important, it's a more catastrophic issue. So the words that I used for serious or damaging are catastrophic and devastating. And again, we're going to explain our reason, our idea. We're going to give an example, and we're going to write a little paragraph summary, a consequence or a therefore. It is possible, you can absolutely add another idea in your body paragraph, but you shouldn't have more than 2 ideas in your body paragraph. There isn't enough room, there isn't enough time to develop your ideas. So you shouldn't write a list of ideas. When you're listing information, that's for your task 1, but not in the task 2. It's about quality, not quantity. You want 1 idea or 2 ideas, and you want to develop it well. So that's body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and then we write a conclusion. And you summarize your points using, you can use another complex sentence using despite, and you justify your opinion. Let me show you what I wrote for this one. To conclude, I strongly believe that the permanent loss of ecological diversity is the most serious environmental issue, despite meaning even though, or meaning I know there are other things, despite the harm caused by natural disasters. And then we write this sentence. This is because, and I write this as because I want to justify my point of view. I don't want to just summarize it again. I already said my opinion in the introduction. My opinion is clear in the body paragraphs. If I just summarize it again in the conclusion, it's not telling the examiner anything new. I want to tell him why I believe this. Not only I believe it, but why. So this is because humans are able to take measures to reduce the effects of global warming, but they cannot bring back a species when it has become extinct. So I agree with you all that it's probably easier to write about the other side. You know, pollution is more serious, or deforestation, or natural disasters, especially loss of human life. So you could do this essay the other way around. You could write about the loss of plants in the first paragraph, And then you could write about your opinion, pollution, in the second paragraph. But you have to think of why. Why is pollution the most important thing? What does pollution do? What's the reason for pollution? What's the harm that it causes? What's an example? A good example would be that oceans are becoming so contaminated with plastic bottles, and these plastic bottles are killing animals anyway. So you have to be able to develop your idea. And so a little recap. We've got the introduction. We paraphrase the question, some people, other people. We outline the essay. This essay discusses. We state our opinion, why I believe that. Okay. We then talk about the opposite view. We then talk about your opinion. I agree with those who think that. And you write your conclusion. You state your opinion and you justify the reason you have selected your side. So I think that's about it. Normally I would do like an interactive lesson. I didn't know how many people were coming into the group, and it's really lovely to see a familiar face. I recognized Anne in this lesson. Anne's in my Facebook group, and she's been on a lesson recently where we share a Google Doc and you can actually do the writing together. So I hope this wasn't, I'm a very interactive learner. I hope this wasn't too boring just listening to me. But I would welcome any questions at all you have now. Let me look in the chat box. Or if I could open, from Dusk, can you return to the slide for the second body paragraph? Okay, let me just look at these questions from Guy. Are those phrases can only be used? Any questions? So, great. So I'm going to go back to the second body paragraph. And Guy, your question was, these phrases can definitely be used in other essays, but the phrases for and we don't want to do this. So we don't want to say this discusses both. This essay will discuss both views and give my opinion. It's too basic. You want to say this essay discusses both perspectives, or both the harm that is caused and why I believe. So let's go back to body paragraph 2. Somebody asked for body paragraph 2. Body paragraph 2. Okay, let me just see who did ask for this one. Chat. Dusk, you asked for this one, body paragraph 2. And Guy, these phrases, I mean, these are English phrases, so you can use them in other essays. But for example, you wouldn't use this phrase. However, I agree with those who believe that in an opinion essay, because you're not talking about both views in an opinion essay. You're only talking about your view. So if this is an opinion essay, you would say, however, I believe that. Okay, you wouldn't say I agree with those. You wouldn't say I agree with other people. You would just say I agree that. So depending on the essay question, you're going to have different phrases to answer. And this is what I really focus on. I was teaching IELTS for a very long time, and I realized that students were too worried about their grammar and vocabulary, but they were very unclear about how to answer a question. And really, I believe you need to understand how to answer the question first, and then the grammar and the vocabulary come afterwards. They come quite naturally. You can then learn them. Let me just see questions. Tulasa, this is a discuss both views and give your own opinion. Any other questions? So Tulasa, so with an opinion essay, you would only talk about your side. You wouldn't talk about the other side. So both paragraphs would talk about your opinion. So you would have to have 2 reasons for your opinion. Let's think of an example. it is better to learn a second language in primary school rather than secondary school. To what extent do you agree or disagree? And so I would agree, yes, it is better to learn a language in primary school for two reasons. Because young children pick up language quicker. So that's one reason in one body paragraph. And the second body paragraph would be, why is it better to learn a language? Because they pick it up quicker and because it improves your cognitive skills. So in an opinion essay, you would support your answer with two reasons. Dusk, I do have a model answer. If you want to take a photo, I will show you the model answer for this. This is a slightly different to what I just taught you. But let me show you this answer. Right, this is the model answer for this essay. If you would like to take a photo or a screenshot, and I only usually do this essay in my academy, so no one else has this. Okay, what else? Anybody else? We know that we are not giving another view. Janelle, can you just explain what you mean? So can we know that we are not giving another view idea in one paragraph? Because sometimes we tend to forget that we are already discussing a different idea. What a great question. So Janelle, you would use language so first of all, you would use language like arguably. You would use language like could or might or may. This language is called hedging language. So like the modal verbs. It's a very nice and sophisticated way to show the examiner it's not your views. So the rise in natural disasters over recent years has arguably had catastrophic consequences. This could, or some people could think, this is the most serious issue. So really, you just have to let the examiner know it's not your opinion. And you can do that at the beginning by using it could be thought or some people think. But you still have to discuss the other view. You still have to show that you can write about the other view, even though you don't believe it. Okay, next question. I don't have any, well I do, but not on this, Percival, not on this presentation, I don't have an example of the outweigh advantages and disadvantages. I don't know if it's okay to talk about this, Jeff. I do have a Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group which you're all welcome to join. And started it as a small project, and I used to try and give individual feedback. I do video feedback for people who would submit their essay, but the group has grown so much that I found myself recently doing about 8 hours a day of video feedback, and I wasn't making any money. So at the same time, I was trying to launch my academy. So in my group, I recommend that you submit your essay, but I give you some training on how to write an essay first. Then if you follow the training, and if you write an essay, I will consider it for video feedback. Then every Tuesday, I go live in the Facebook group, editing, and I choose about 3 essays, and I show people how these essays can be improved to a band 7. I can't do feedback on everybody's essay anymore, but I can choose essays that I think would be really helpful. Yes. So what I recommend you do, any student who comes into the group, I always say, please follow this example training and then write an essay, and then you can post it in the group, and I or the other group members will give you feedback. And the Facebook name is Free IELTS Preparation with Joy. Any other questions? Let me... Oh, Louis, so your question is, please, a little explanation on cohesive and coherent in writing. Okay, lovely question. So, coherence and cohesion is how you link your ideas together. So for a band 7, you need to show logical progression. Now, a big, I find that students have difficulties when they start to try and link every sentence, and every sentence says, for example, and then however, and then moreover, and it sounds a little bit robotic or memorized. So it's more important when we're thinking about coherence and cohesion, it's more important to think, does the next sentence connect? Does the idea connect with the previous sentence? Don't worry about words like, for example. If you have a look at this sentence, for example, okay, this sentence starts with the subject, the rise in natural disasters. And then the next sentence starts with incremental rises in global temperature. I don't say, for example. And then the next sentence says, these disasters. So these disasters, these connects with the previous sentence, meaning something we already mentioned. And the only linking word, the only linking phrase, body paragraph is here. Hurricane Katrina, which hit the southern states of America, is a prime example of the devastation. So I've got here is a prime example. So when you're thinking about coherence and cohesion, it's important to think about, does the idea in your sentence connect with the previous sentence? Don't worry about the language, for example. For instance, does the idea connect? There are nice ways to link your sentences using grammatical structures like conditional sentences, sentences that begin with if, and also complex sentences, sentences that begin with when. I do a lot of training on grammar, and especially we did some training last week on how to link sentences without using, for example. But so, this essay is finished. Right. Lessa, whoever wanted to photo this essay, it's actually unfinished. I didn't finish this essay. I'm just going to delete that. Okay. So, let's see. Louis, so yeah, it was Louis. You explained on coherence and cohesion. So you basically, what's the most important thing in your essay, actually in the body paragraphs, is your topic sentence. Your topic sentence must be clear, okay? It must say, if you join the group, I've got a free training. As soon as you join the group, I email you a free training on the structure of every paragraph and the topic sentences you need for every essay. The topic sentence is super important. So this counts towards your coherence and cohesion. And so in this first paragraph, I use the word arguably. So it talks about the rise in natural disasters. So this is what the paragraph is about. The rise in natural disasters is very bad. That's what the paragraph is about. So for coherence and cohesion, you then need to explain your topic sentence, and you then need to give an example of your topic sentence, and you then need to kind of summarize it. So that is more important than writing words like moreover, furthermore. And you should only write moreover or furthermore if you introduce a new idea. But these paragraphs have an idea in them. Okay, great. Anybody else? So Janelle, yeah, so Guy, yes, clarification. You should only discuss both views and give your own opinion. Your opinion should be in the second paragraph. You should agree with one side, and that's the side you should put in the second paragraph. But you should also say what your opinion is in the introduction. Then you talk about the other side, and then you talk about the side you agree with. And then Janelle, how can we be aware if we're getting out of the topic? Really good question, Janelle. So first of all, start practicing, okay? And look at every sentence. Does it connect with the sentence before? And does the paragraph connect with the question? So if you start talking about, like, you're talking about the rise in natural disasters, but then maybe you talk about, like, refugee camps, or maybe you talk about deforestation. Actually, refugee camps would be relevant, but deforestation, then you're not relevant. So you must measure each sentence with the sentence before. Is it relevant? Always think about this word, these two words, logical progression. To get a band 7 in your writing, the examiner looks for logical progression. And logical progression means every idea continues nicely to the next sentence. So if you think of this structure, topic sentence, explanation, example, summary as a result, that's your recommended structure. I would recommend trying to practice that. Let me just sent me a video of a speaking battle earlier, which is really exciting, that I'm going to okay, Jeff, common mistakes in writing to avoid. Really great question. Overcomplicating. So I see some students, there are some words that I would recommend avoiding. So keep it simple. So in your conclusion, write to conclude. Don't write to recapitulate or due to the aforementioned arguments. In your introduction, just say your opinion. I believe that. Keep it simple. I agree with this, or I disagree with, or I believe that. Yeah, so the common mistakes would be using vocabulary that you think sounds academic without being sure of the meaning, and then it sounds strange in the essay. I would always keep it simple. Only use words that you're completely familiar with. Only do what the question says. If it asks for your opinion, give it. And if it doesn't ask for your opinion, don't give it. Yeah, my biggest, so common mistakes would be students trying to overcomplicate things. I see a lot of students, yes, trying to use words that they're not sure of the meaning of. You're more likely to score better if you use structures that you're familiar with. And I recommend for your writing to start reading. The best way to learn vocabulary and to start subconsciously picking up grammar patterns is by reading. And I always recommend students read the National Geographic. The National Geographic is the most amazing online publication or magazine that does articles in all types of topics that are connected to IELTS, like environment, traditions, customs, different countries, tourism, science. Great. So make sure you read. I even recommend practicing writing at a sentence level. Practice, so sentence structure can be quite difficult for some students. So if you come from different countries, you know, the order of your words, your subject is in a different place, or your tenses are different, and some languages don't have tenses. So read a paragraph of the National Geographic and write a summary of what you read. Ask someone to check it, post it in my group, or even just repeat some of the sentences. If you're having difficulty with sentence structure, write some of the what do you mean by habitat and cell phones? Let's have a look, Dusk. Habitat's a nice word which means the natural, where is it here? The natural place that an animal lives. Loss of okay, right. Yeah, that could be explained a bit better actually. So they are an endangered species due to loss of habitat. Habitat is the natural place where an animal lives, like a nest or a tree, or it's the comfortable place. Cell phones are known to cause huge damage to bees because of their flight paths and their I might even structure that differently. Take bees as an example. Bees are known to be endangered species due to the loss of habitat and the adverse effects of cell phones effects. I've got a big okay. Is that clearer, Dusk? So yeah, to lesser, best way to learn new vocabulary, again, it's to read, watch documentaries with subtitles, and make a note of vocabulary. Read. Or, oh, what a great thing. So Janelle, Janelle says, "Get a training a couple of weeks ago." Definitely, you can say recent research. Many studies show, but I strongly recommend not inventing specific statistics or not inventing fake studies. So a lot of students, and I think they teach this in the subcontinent, in India as well, the IELTS teachers teach to invent a fake study. For example, 37% of people who like bees, 37, no, maybe, okay, according to the London Times, 37% of bees prefer roses for lunch. So this type of statistic, don't invent statistics. So you want to keep it general, not specific. The whole point is, because with academic IELTS, you're preparing to study at university, or well, as medical professionals you're not, but a lot of academic candidates are preparing to study at master's level at university, and citing or mentioning research is actually it's a skill, and you need to mention the exact publication, the exact date, and the exact percentages. Do we need to write in the third person? So always try to avoid gender-specific pronouns. You can say "I believe," but when you're giving examples, we would never say, take my brother for example. He really likes bees. You always want to use the pronoun they or them. So, for example, some people prefer bees, full stop. They think that. So you want to use they, their, or them, and always avoid he, she, or you. It's okay to say "I believe," and sometimes it's okay to say "we need to change things," but you should never, there's never a situation in your essay to say he, she, or you. It's better to say they. So Tilasa, what tenses? Good question. There's no correct answer. There's no correct answer because it depends what you're talking about. So if you use recently in your introduction, you're going to have to use the present perfect. Recently, there has or there have been. okay? It's going to be a mix of present simple, present continuous, possibly past simple, present perfect. Okay. This is very late in some of your countries. So, I've got the free Facebook group. You are very, very welcome to join. It's called Free IELTS with Joy. Because there were students who wanted that extra bit of help from the I'm not able to help students individually in the Facebook group. I'm just able to do group training. But there were students that needed extra help. So I have started an online academy, and I started it 3 months ago, and students are having an awful lot of success in the academy. It's called the IELTS Boss Academy. Until now, it's been very small because I really like to give individual attention to the students. It's focused primarily on writing. We also incorporate speaking. It's live Zoom lessons where you get to write and edit a document as with your classmates and with me and get critical feedback. You also get weekly video lessons with a homework. You do your homework and I give you video feedback while I'm correcting the document. And this is personal to you. No one else sees that. It's not posted in the group. A couple of students, it was Madiha, who's a doctor, and she has scored 8.5 in her listening, 9 in reading, 7.5 in speaking, and for 2 years she's got her exam in 2 weeks, and so I'm really praying for her that she will get her 7. And she enjoyed it very much, so I'll let you know about how she scored. And I've got some other students who have got a 7. The academy is 8 weeks long. You get the live lessons. You also get personalized feedback. You get homework after each lesson. You get full access to me at any time. I send you a voice message if you've got a question about anything. This is primarily for medical professionals stuck on a band 6 or a 6.5. It can also be for people who haven't done their the exam before. It's also for people who want to emigrate and people who would like to study abroad. So I'm doing a bit of a deal this week, and I told people in my group about it. Historically, it's been $297. At the moment, I'm doing it for $197. Just because I really want, I know that people in other countries don't earn as much money as people in some countries. So this is something I'm doing for probably a couple of weeks, just to see if that would help people. It's really, really excellent value. You can still learn a lot if you join the free Facebook group. I do training and feedback every week, and you can jump on a Zoom call with me. And I think that's about it. If anyone else has any questions, you can just ask me now. It would be so interesting to know what your professions are. Are you nurses, doctors? Are you living in your country? Are you in another country? In Dubai. My sister lives in Dubai. And I think it's been really strict over lockdown as well. I don't think it's been, you're a scientist, medical technologist. So Dusk, what's your motivation for the IELTS? Why do you need it? Is this for job opportunities or is it for emigration? You're a teacher, so Maria, that would probably be, you want it for job opportunities. Visa screen, RN in Abu Dhabi, nurse in the Philippines. So Janelle, if you are already a nurse, what do you need the IELTS for? Are you planning to emigrate? Yes. Yeah. And Tilassa, you're registered nurse from the. Great job. Okay, I think I have nothing more to tell you or to teach you. I hope this was helpful. Jeff, should I hand over to you?
Sure, Joy. So thank you so much, Joy. So for everyone that who wants to follow Joy's
Thanks,
official
Miss
Facebook,
Joy.
okay guys, just search on Facebook free IELTS preparation with Joy.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this
Thank you,
was
You're so
Joy.
really,
welcome.
yes, thank you
I
so
wish
much,
you all the
Joy.
best of luck. I hope maybe I can join one of your speaking classes.
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you.
So just keep up the good work. Don't
Okay, Joy.
stop. Keep reading. Remember to read.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
Joy,
you're
please
welcome.
transfer to me the hosting job.
Okay,
Okay.
transfer to you.
Yep.
Hold on a second. How do I do
Just click my
that?
name and more. There's an option like more near to camera icon.
I think I've got it. Did
Oh
you? Have you got
yes, I
it?
got it. I got it. Thank you so much. So everyone, Joy, it's a pleasure for us to hear your lecture, and it was really
Yes, we're
helpful.
glad, Miss
So
That's
Joy.
expect
great.
expect
That's great.
all the members that gonna follow your Facebook. Yep.
Yeah.
And yes.
Listen, it was great to see you. Keep up the good work. It's tricky, the IELTS. It's a really difficult thing, and I know it can be so stressful because your whole future depends on it. And I know it's difficult to study when you're working and trying to study in your spare time, and you also have families, and maybe you miss your family. You're in a different country, but you will get there. And just you're in this group, so you're doing the right things by constantly trying to always find something. When you interact or when you go into different communities, there will be people who will help you. So yeah, just don't give up. It's
Mm.
you will get there.
Yes.
Yes,
Well, actually,
Thank you.
I'm already done with IELTS, but I'm still here to help people. So now I'm extending this
that's
to
great.
international community as well.
That's really great.
So yeah.
I totally recommend Miss Joy because she really, she's really great because I was one of her follower in Facebook and I've learned a lot on her teaching. She's really great.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Miss Joy.
Ah,
It's really
thank
wonderful to see
It's
you
great to
again.
see you. Thank you so much. Well, I'm in Scotland and it's been raining for about 5 months, and we've got a sunny evening this evening, so I'm just going to go outside and try and
Okay.
get some sun.
Yes.
Okay, Miss
I'll see you
Joy.
all.
Take
Very,
care.
very best of luck, and I'll see you all soon. And Jeff,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much again, Joy.
Thank you, Miss
Please
Joy.
stay
Take
safe. Thank you
care.
so
Stay
Be
much.
safe.
safe.
Stay safe. Yes.
Bye. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for Kenjel for this Zoom and the Zoom. Thank you.